Hi everyone, I'm Todd Nauck. Welcome to the Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page, episode 2 of the Art of Todd Nauck show. So much fun doing a broadcast yesterday. I had some free time, so I thought I'd do a brand new broadcast here this afternoon, here on the West Coast. So if you're watching this on YouTube, obviously this is a rebroadcast, but today is primetime Olympics, so some of you East Coasters might be choosing the Olympics over watching some art. But nevertheless, we're going to keep going forward here. So welcome Jerry, welcome David. As people come on in, I want to say thanks for tuning in, thanks for joining me. Feel free to leave questions or comments. I'll do my best to read them or answer them as I draw, but as always, if you're new to my broadcast, most of my focus is on the art, so I can't promise I can answer or see every question. I'll do my best to answer if and when I can. So today, doing another Post-it note broadcast. These are pretty easy to do. That's why I'm doing them so frequently and hope to continue this pace, or at least once or twice a week, either here or on Periscope. Join me on periscope.tv/Todd Nauck every now and again. But I'm going to do a Post-it note sketch of Tracer from Overwatch. I haven't played the game, but I really dig the character's design. I think she's a really cool looking character. That's enough to get me playing the game, but I want to try giving it a shot at drawing her. So I'm going to plug into the rig, get right to it, and feel free to draw along. And do Galactus. I will not be drawing Galactus on a Post-it note. It would take like 17 Post-it notes just to fit the guy's head on there alone. So, like I said, we're going to plug into the rig and get started. So I've pulled up some Tracer reference here on the Google, but I'll be doing my own take here on Tracer. Let's adjust the rig here a little bit so we're a little bit closer to the art. There we go, tighten that up. Welcome everyone, welcome. Looks like we have some people who were tuned in for episode 1 yesterday. Glad you're back here for episode 2. I'm just going to go ahead and episode all these Facebook ones because they stay on the Facebook page. And so from here on out, each broadcast should receive an episode number. Alright, so first time drawing Tracer right here, right now. And there's going to be a learning curve on this one here. Oftentimes, as artists, when we're drawing a new character, we'll do character studies. You have to find the spark and the right shapes on how that character fits together to get them looking as accurate as possible. So this would be the first of many sketches I would do if I were to be drawing Tracer more regularly. Can you buy the Post-it note art? Yes, people are able to buy my Post-it note art. I do sell them. Each piece I do. But the way to get a chance at buying it is to be the first email in to me at mail, M-A-I-L, at wildguard.com. First email in gets first crack at buying, and I'll reply with a price and shipping options. And then if the first person cannot complete the sale, then subsequent emails, people who got their email in the order they came in, get the next shot. So if you're the 5th email in, you're the 5th person to get a crack at it if persons 1 through 4 fall through. So anyhow, back to the show. Is drawing a totally different skill set to do animation? That's a challenging question to answer. I think there are different things that are drawn in animation as opposed to what I would say comic books, since that is my field of expertise. So there are different. It's a different storytelling medium, so there are going to be some differences in how those stories are told, because one is moving pictures, the other is panels on a page. But it's all drawing, so there's a lot of similarities as well. Did I happen to see your Genji? Hey, Brad Mackey, I know you. one of my SoCal Comic Con peeps. Your Genji. Is that Genji? Genji? I don't know if I did. I have to be honest, I don't know if I know what a Genji is. So much so I don't even know if I'm pronouncing the word right. Oh, wait. Was that illustration you were showing me? That robot-looking dude? How long have I been an illustrator professionally? For just over 20 years, I guess. But how long have I been doing art in general? Since I was a kid. Like a little kid. Earliest memories are of drawing. Oh, so I am remember. Yeah, I don't know if I saw the finished piece there, Brad. I don't know if I did. I remember showing you showing the stages there on the Twitters. Do I ever sometimes wish I had a different art style? No, not really. I mean, I draw the way I draw. I mean, it's just kind of like that's the way I approach life. I mean, I always seek to do better. I seek to study more and to practice more and learn new techniques or different techniques or pump up the techniques I do have. So so I'm always evolving, and that's the nice thing about art, is that there's always so much to learn that we can always continually evolve. So if we don't like our style currently, who knows what our study and practice will evolve us into. Hope that makes sense. Hey, thank you for the kind words, Jalen. Do I think a Kid Flash Miles Morales crossover would be fun to draw and read? Yeah, sure. I think so. They're kind of the new kids on the block in both the Marvel and DC universes. Though I guess Miles Morales has been around for a little bit longer than the current new Kid Flash, the new 52 Kid Flash. But you know, I think it could be a really fun story if that were to ever happen. Enrique, you met me at San Diego Comic-Con, right on. Welcome to my broadcast. Where can you find a listing of my Post-it note art for sale? Well, most of them are sold. There are very, very few that are still available. But there is an album here on my Art of Todd Nauck Facebook page. So you can just go in there and click through, and any of the ones that do not say sold, sale pending, or not available are ones that should still be available for sale. Some have sold at conventions, and I have not gone in to update that, so I will need to go back in there. So I can't promise the accuracy of that catalog. So do know that if you see a piece that is not labeled as sold, there is a slight possibility it might be sold. I think there's like a Destro in there that just sold, and Squirrel Girl just sold in London. So so do keep that in mind. Do I think more Spider-Man films should be made after Phase 3 is done? Sure. Sure, I think Spider-Man's almost a character like, is a, you know, legendary, iconic character like Sherlock Holmes or Tarzan. I think there could always be Spider-Man movies made. I just, you know, hope they do a movie that tells Spider-Man's origin. I think that is a story that really needs to be told. You know, like how he got his powers, you know, what motivated him to become Spider-Man. I think that's a story I think we're dying to see. Joke in progress there. I think we need to move on from his origin. But yeah, more Spider-Man movies, bring them on. What is my next cosplay? Hi, Sean Richter. You know, right now, I'm not looking to change it up at the moment. It's still Sean Spencer or the 10th Doctor. Maybe someday I'll do the 9th Doctor, but I'm not looking to commit to that haircut yet. Oh, thank you, Lewis. We had a great time there at Denver Comic Con this year. My favorite Spider-Man villain. Let's see. I don't know, I like a lot of different Spider-Man villains for different reasons. I'd say Venom, Sandman, the Shocker are some of my favorites. Spider-Man has a great rogues gallery. Do I have any new characters I've created? Yes, I do. Maybe when I get time to do that creator-owned project, you'll get a chance to meet them. Who's my favorite alternate Spider-Man character? I'd probably say Spider-Ham. I've been a long-time Spider-Ham fan. Also like Punk Rock Spider-Man and Spider-Man UK. What about the Lizard? Never saw me draw that. Actually, I did a series of children's books for Disney Publishing, Spider-Man's children's books, and one of the stories was Spider-Man versus the Lizard. It was a really fun one to draw. So if you ever come across those storybooks at your local bookstore, take a flip through. You might see one of my stories in there, my illustrated stories. And hopefully you'll get a chance to see my Lizard one. Colored by the amazing people at Hi-Fi Coloring. Brian Miller of Hi-Fi Coloring. One of my first times to get to work with Brian. Excellent colorist. Am I going to this Palm Springs Comic Con later this summer? No, unfortunately I will not be a guest at that convention. But I will be at Long Beach Comic Con. So, if you're in the Southern California area, do come to Long Beach. You can find me at table J1. Sorry if I'm missing some of your questions here. Trying to make sure I get the different details of Tracer's costume right here, her goggles. Coming to Salt Lake City, it won't be there this year. Had a great time there last year, would love to come back. Hopefully they'll invite me back for the con in a future year. But no plans to be back this year. My September cons will be, what will they be? Long Beach and then Cincinnati. My first time to Cincinnati, so any of you Ohio peeps are around or in that area, do stop by, or if you're at the con, do stop by my table and say hi. What pencil am I using? Great question. I'm using the Uni Kuratoga mechanical pencil with the it's a 0.3 lead and an HB lead. It's 0.3 HB lead. You can get this pencil at jetpens.com. Tell them Todd Nauck sent you. Really has no bearing on the sale. That I don't receive anything for it. They probably won't even know who you're talking about. but just go ahead and tell them I sent you. Can I do a webinar for you artists? What's a webinar? Apologize for my ignorance on the subject. Or maybe I can do some research on webinars and see how they run. I'm assuming it's a web seminar, obviously, but yeah, I'll have to look into that. Was there anything specific I want to see from Thor Ragnarok? Hadn't really thought much about it. Had not thought much about it, so I don't really have any expectations at this time. I think right now the only thing I expect to see is Chris Hemsworth. I'm assuming he'll be in that movie. I mean, he is Thor, after all. But yeah, unfortunately, I wish I had a better answer to that question for you. Favorite non-DC or Marvel character? That's a really interesting question. Well, I'm a big Invincible fan. I like Invincible from Robert Kirkman's Invincible. The Tick, I like the Tick a lot. Yeah, I think those would be the first two that come to the top of my head there. Using a 08 Pigmamicron here now for the inks. Let's see, got a long question here. I said before in a podcast that one should do a short story in their portfolio to show they can tell a story. What medium should I do the story in? Pencils, inks, or color? Whatever you do best. If you do pencils the best, but your inks and colors are weak, don't do inks and colors. Just rock the pencils so that the editor goes, wow, these are amazing pencils. You're hired, we'll pair you up with an inker, we'll pair you up with a colorist, and we can get you to work. Now, if you're proficient at all three jobs and you want to do all three jobs, then and that's going to be your best work in your portfolio, put all three in, and best of luck to you. But I would say the best bet, because when I was trying to break in as a young artist, I was trying to do pencils and inks, but my ink skills way back in the day were really weak. So a pro artist who was looking, I had the honor of letting them take a look at my portfolio. They said, take your inks out, man. That's actually dragging you down. If your pencils are what's stronger, that's what you're going to get hired on eventually. So just focus on pencils. Tackle the inks later on. And that's exactly what I did. And I've since tackled the inks later on. And in 2010, I started doing my own inks because I had finally gotten them to a place where I felt comfortable and proficient at the job. But to break in, I focused on my pencils. So focus on what you do best to break in, add the other chores later. Do they have to be finished pencils or loose pencils? Really, it's whatever is, again, the best. What is the best work? What is it that you do? Now, if you pencil loose, and of course you can convey all the material, all the information correctly. Now, this is just my opinion. Other artists may say otherwise, and that's cool. But then pencil loose. Do what you do. You do you. If you're doing super tight pencils, but it takes you forever to do super tight pencils, and you get hired to do super tight pencils, like you show that in your portfolio, and that's what the editor expects from you, then you're kind of trapped there, and now you're kind of pigeonholed into doing super tight pencils, where you prefer to do loose pencils. So do whatever works best for you, is a best indicator of your work, because that's what you're going to get hired to do. Don't draw in another person's style if that's not the style you draw in or like to draw in. Be true to you in every way. That's what's going to serve you well in getting hired. You know, if you're fortunate enough to score a job. You don't want to have a super detailed style that you love to draw in, but you have some really open, simple, animated style work. You know, say you're like, do like a Jim Lee type style, but you have some samples in there that are kind of Bruce Timm, and you like drawing in a Bruce Timm sort of open style anyway, but it's not like your favorite thing to do because you love to put in all the David Finchy, Jim Lee like type of details, but you get hired in it for a Bruce Timm type project, you might get pigeonholed there, and it gets really hard to break out of that. Not to say it's impossible, but be true to yourself, be true to your art and what you like to do. Let's see, do I think I'll be at Emerald City Comic Con next year? I don't know. I hope to. I love doing the Emerald City show. Done the past 3 in a row. This last year was incredible. So I hope to. Stay tuned to this Facebook page and my website, toddnauck.com, for all my convention updates, as well as all my other social media. I post on there as well, to make sure everyone knows where to find me next, whether it be convention, project, etc. What's the weirdest commission you've ever done? I never remember. I get that question so many times, especially at conventions, and I never remember the weird ones. Even when I say, here it is, this is the weirdest one I've ever been commissioned, and then I promptly forget. So I can't say what the weirdest one is, because I just can't remember. Conventions are such a flurry. I'm lucky if I remember what city I'm in. Any advice for beginning a create-your-own series? Have fun. Have fun. It takes a lot of time and investment to get your series going and off the ground, so kind of have to be in it for the long haul there, or for as long as you have the time and resources. So do your best to have fun. Oops, sorry, we tapped out there for a second, but we back. I didn't see Suicide Squad. I was in London when the movie opened, so I missed it. Have not seen it. I'll probably wait and watch it on DVD or something like that. Will I one day go to a Comic-Con in Paris? I hope to. I'd love to come to Paris. Feel free to let your Parisian Comic-Cons know you'd like to see me there as a guest, and maybe they'll invite me out. When doing pencils for your sample pages, do you need to incorporate the word balloons? No, you do not. You do not. You do not need to put the word balloons in. Because if you get hired to draw a comic, you're not going to put the word balloons in. You want to be mindful of where the word balloons would be put in, but you don't have to draw them in. Editors do not need to see that. Just tell a great story visually with your art, and do not worry about word balloons. What's my favorite manga? I don't really have a favorite manga. Don't really get to read much manga, unfortunately. So I think the last manga I read was the Star Wars and Empire Strikes Back adaptations years ago. when hired, are you employed by a comic book company? Is it a contractual thing? It can be. If you sign exclusive, it's contractual. If not, it's work for hire. So it all depends on the company, the project, etc. When I create a character, do I have an image in my mind that I stick to, or does the character's abilities dictate the final look? For me, there are a lot of different factors going into creating a character. So you know, there's the look, there's their abilities, there's their personality, there's their name. So it all depends on what I come up with first. Sometimes I do come up with the look first. Sometimes I come up with the name. Sometimes I come up with the ability, then the name. So then that dictates the look. Sometimes I come up with the ability and then the look, and then that dictates the name. So there's no one set way that I create a character. It's just however they are birthed in and from my mind. Are we having more watercolors soon? I do hope to do more watercolor broadcasts, probably once my work deadlines lighten up a little bit. There's a Harley Quinn broadcast I started back in May. She needs to be watercolored, so that will probably be my next watercolor broadcast. That I would imagine at this time. That is subject to change. And that would probably be on Periscope. Which, if you're not following me on Periscope, I'm at periscope.tv/Todd Nauck. Would I like to see any characters from the episodes make an appearance in Star Wars Rogue One? Sure. I haven't watched the Rogue One trailer. I don't watch Star Wars trailers anymore. Didn't watch the trailers for Force Awakens because I wanted to be surprised by the movie itself. And my wife and I had such a fun time experiencing it all for the first time the day we saw the movie that we have since decided to maintain that value of not watching movie trailers for movies we want to see, because we don't need to be sold on it. We know we want to see it. So if it's a Marvel superhero movie like Doctor Strange, not watching those trailers. Star Wars, not watching those trailers, because it's a guarantee that I'm going to go see it. Assuming I have the time. Didn't watch the X-Men Apocalypse trailers, and I did not have time to go see that movie. Still plan to see the movie, but I'll probably check it out on DVD. What is the deal with Periscope? I'm not sure what you mean there, Eddie. Can I do a tutorial on drawing noses? Maybe someday. Maybe someday I'll just do a nose tutorial. And so I think someone asked about hair. Maybe I could do a hair tutorial. No plans at the moment, but something I will keep in mind for future broadcasts. Yes, Emmy, I see you're not old enough to work in comics yet, but can you start showing your art to professional artists and editors at cons so they can tell you what you need to work on? Sure, why not? Why not? I know a couple of young artists who are not only showing their work at cons, but posting their work online and are developing a following. You know, they are, you know, I think barely junior high aged, and they're already starting to develop a name for themselves just because they're making their presence known at cons and online as well. I've even had a chance to meet one or two of them. Do I think I'd ever make a how-to draw book? No, I don't know if I would. Nope, no, certainly no plans to. Just mainly because I haven't had the time to think about such a project. Doesn't mean I wouldn't ever do it, but I'm not looking to make something like that happen at this time in life. There are a lot of other types of. I'd much rather make comic books and tell stories right now. But who knows? Maybe one day I will do a how to draw book. All right, where's my eraser? I should draw Superboy next. I should draw Superboy sometime. I love drawing him in my Young Justice series that I did with Peter David. Not sure if I'll draw him next, but I should add him to my roster of characters I would like to draw for future broadcasts. So got a little crinkled there. Just smooth that out. Now we'll move into the Copic color stage. Alright. Starting with some E00. Try to remember to call out the marker numbers as I go, as I do for most of my broadcasts. Sometimes I forget, but I try to remember. Is it harder to choose colors while working on colored paper? No, not at all. Actually, I choose the colors I would choose as if this was drawn on white paper. Just the color of the paper just kind of changes the effect, but it doesn't change my choice necessarily. Sometimes it does, but like my skin tones here, the E triple zero or E double zero, now the E01 would be the colors I would use regardless. Get some R20 here to put some rosy on the nose and on the cheeks. A little bit on the chin. Really pump up the rose on the nose. Let's see. This looks like a close enough shade of brown here, the E84. Do I have to replace Copic pens or just the inks and tips? Yeah, they don't have to replace a whole Copic sketch marker here. You can buy a refill bottle and replacement nibs whenever those are needed, and makes the markers much more cost effective, because you can get about 8 to 12 refills, I would say, per refill bottle. Do I listen to music while drawing? Not often. Usually I listen to TV. Alright, so for the fur lining of her jacket, I'm going to do one of my tricks. If it's your first time watching, I'll explain more as I go, but right now I'm using some warm gray here. Kind of a darker shade of warm gray than I would use if this was white paper. So this is a warm 4. Come in with some warm 3. Any tips on getting better at drawing proportions? Yes, reference real life. Study the size and relations and distance relations of body parts, facial features from real life. A little warm 2. Come in with some warm 5 for a little darker areas. Like here, just behind the face. Did I become addicted to drawing on Post-it notes? Not necessarily addicted. I can stop anytime. But do I enjoy it? Yes. Yes, I do. Let's try getting some hair going here. I got the E89 to start off with because she has pretty dark shade of brown for her hair. So I'm going to start with a pretty dark shade to start with. Have I ever tried animation at all? Not really, no. So let's try some E57 next. Start to blend from the dark E89 into the open area of the paper. I should talk like Bob Ross in the other broadcast, my Periscope broadcast. Which character was I drawing for that? I think it was Storm. My Storm broadcast, which will be on my YouTube channel, or you can go watch it on periscope.tv/Todd Nauck. I referred to a lot of the aspects of the illustration in a Bob Ross sort of voice and style. It was a hoot. Little R56 here for this inner part of her goggles. So you need some cool gray. What are my thoughts on action words? I don't know if I know what that is. Don't know if I know what you're referring to. Don't know. Feel free to elaborate. So this is a cool gray 3 I'm using right now. Might have to do my watercolor pencil trick on her goggles, the frames of her goggles as well. How do I know where to add certain line weights? Basic rule of thumb is consider your light source. Thicker lines on the shadow side, thinner lines on the side closest to the light source. But that's just a rule of thumb. You kind of move from there. You make different choices as necessary. But that's just kind of the Cliff Note version, Cliff Note answer, if you will. Little neutral gray here, neutral gray 4. Do I plan to do a Star Wars drawing related to, in memory of Kenny Baker? You know, I hope to. I hope to. We'll see how things go. But yeah, it was very shocking to hear that Kenny Baker had passed yesterday. For those of you that don't know, Kenny Baker was the man who portrayed R2-D2 in all 7, I believe it was 7 movies. I know the first 6. I assumed he was R2-D2, at least part of the time in Episode 7. Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong, gang. Also, a little orange, that was a YR12 and a YR16 here for this little thing here on her shoulder. Probably use many of these same colors for her goggle lens. Let's go ahead and drop that in now. So using the YR16 right now. Let's hit with some of that YR12 again. How many commissions do I do during a convention? Depends on the convention. Depends on how busy that convention is. Sometimes I do a lot, sometimes I can only do a few. Depends on if I have panels, or portfolio reviews, or signings at other booths, like publisher booths. Let's see, so now a little YR27 here, for a little darker spots here on her eyelids, and the bridge of her nose. Looks like they kind of have a bit of a brown. You know what, I need to do a little change-o here on her eyes a little bit, but that will be momentarily. E13 for the eyes. Or for the beginning of the eyes, I want to go a little bit, get a little bit of a darker shade going there, so we'll pump up with a little E17. And what do I want to do next here? Her irises need to be much bigger, as I noticed here in my reference. I drew very small irises. Her irises should be much more larger. So it's these little details that can really help make a difference there. So, yes, I'm much happier with that. Let's see. Have this shoulder strap there, a little E57. Did I have a hard time drawing dynamic body poses back in the day? Sure, when I was learning. Yeah, it was a challenge. It's a lot I had to learn. Let's see. So now her lips are not they're very subdued color, so we don't want to get too vibrant with the lips. So we got a little RV32 to start off with. And we're probably not going to get much farther than that. A little R20, just to blend that in a little bit. Little RV95 for a little dimension, now that I dimension it. Let's get a little cool gray going in here for shadows underneath her chin, underneath the nose. It's a little YR2, or not YR, W, warm gray 2. Alright, let's see, let's get a little more blendy in the hair here, just a little bit. This little why I keep saying Y? E13. It's a different shade of brown there. Alright, so let's see, let's get a fade going. Let's do a neutral fade. Don't want it to be too dark, so we'll start with N4. Will I be attending New York Comic Con? Yes, I will. I will be at New York Comic Con. And you can see all my convention listings at toddnauck.com. Might have to go down a few posts, but I'll be posting updates as we move into September. N3, so you can check to see if I'll be coming to your town. right now my 2016 convention schedule is pretty locked, so it's Long Beach, New York, Long Beach, Cincinnati, and New York. Maybe one more in November. Once that's all confirmed and announced, then I'll post that one, add that one to the list as well. Some neutral 2. Some neutral 1. Have I played Overwatch? No. No, I haven't played Overwatch yet. But I've seen Tracer. Seen a lot of Tracer fan art, and I think she's a cool looking character. So I wanted to fan art her. Some neutral 0. And I gotta say, she is a very fun character to draw. I can see why people like to draw her. Now let's see my Prismacolor watercolor pencil. Gonna come over this portion of her goggle lenses with the pencil to make it look a little lighter. Not quite white, because it's coming over this gray, so it makes it look a little whitish, a little light grayish. Same thing with the inner fur lining, easy for me to say, lining. Yes, I do plan to see Doctor Strange when it releases in November. Should be a lot of fun. I like Benedict Cumberbatch, so I look forward to seeing him as Doctor Strange. Let's put some of this in her eyes. Some of this in the hair, here on the highlight of the hair. Little highlights on the metal canisters here on her shoulder. A little bit at the tip of the nose. Across the bottom of the lip. Now for my finishing move. Uniball Signo white gel pen is go for character outline. Yes, that was a white watercolor, is a Prismacolor white watercolor pencil that I used for all these effects here, and now I'm using a white gel pen. I'm using the Uniball Signo white gel pen. I get this at jetpens.com. Tell them Todd Nauck sent you. It means absolutely nothing. There we go. See, that white outline gives her some pop off the page there. So put a little signature on here. Whoops. This page is sliding all over the board. Is today the 14th? 14th. Yes, it is the 14th. And that's 2016. Boom. And there we go. Tracer, very first time I've ever drawn Tracer, right there. I gotta say, she is very fun to draw. This probably will not be the last time I draw Tracer. So I know y'all posted a lot of questions, and I missed a lot of them because I was so focused on the art here. So we're going to flip around, do a little Q&A, and I'll try to answer as many of your questions as I can. Can't promise I can answer them all, but I'll see what I can do. So let's pop out of the rig. Awesome, there we go. So, see, hands free. If you had any questions, feel free to post, and I'll see if I can answer them. So thanks for the kind words, people. I'm really glad that y'all like what I did there. This was a lot of fun to draw. Like I said, she's a really, really, really great design, very cool character to draw. When Copic markers squeak, do they need to be filled up or something else? It's just the marker tip going across that slick paper. So that squeak really doesn't mean anything. When your markers start to get streaky, when the lines coming out get streaky, that's when you're running out of ink. You need to do a refill. Any more Wild Gourd? That's my new book, Wild Gourd. It's a bunch of, natural containers that are out there trying to solve crimes. No, Wild Guard. Any new Wild Guard stories coming out? I am working on a Wild Guard story. It is an experiment. Doing a watercolor. It's penciled, inked, and watercolored. So it's about a 10 to 16 page story. I haven't been able to work on it much because Marvel's been keeping me hopping with projects. I did a Spider-Man miniseries, The Amazing Spider-Man and Silk Spider-Fly Effect. Hopefully everyone read that. All 4 issues are out on stands now. And my current series is Deadpool Too Soon. Issue 1 comes out October 19th. So make sure you read those comics. So as soon as I'm done with Deadpool, I hope to hop back onto that Wild Guard short story and work some more on that and hopefully have it ready to go by early next year. So thank you for asking. Thanks for reading Wild Guard and supporting creator-owned projects. I do hope to have more Wild Guard stories and Wild Guard related spin-off type stories sometime in the future. If you stay tuned to my website and all my social networks, you'll never miss out. So I'm sorry if I'm missing a lot of questions there as I'm answering previous questions. I appreciate y'all's patience and understanding. Do I ever draw digitally? Not yet, but I look into learning more about that and what tablet will be best for me. Right now, the Cintiq Companion 2 and the Surface Pro 4 are leading the way right now. I'm a Mac guy. I'd like to get the Apple Pro or the iPad Pro, but I'm not sure if that's the right device for me. But I hope to do that. Will I do a broadcast? Will I do a broadcast doing an? I will be doing more broadcasts. Ultimately, I will be doing more broadcasts here on my channel. I'm sorry, I'm getting a note from my director. Oh no, we're good. We're good. Thank you so much, director. Director, as in my wife. She had to ask me a certain question. The answer was yes, I do want nachos for dinner. Actually, well, that wasn't the question at all. I can't wait until the Deadpool comes out in stores. Thank you very much. Wild Guard character. I might have missed the first part of your question there, Malik, so feel free to specify. Do I collect any collectible type things? Yes, I do. I got my latest collectible in the mail yesterday. I'll show it to you right now. I got it right here. This is so exciting. I got Marvel Legends 1985 Punk Rock Rogue. I love this design. I love it. And they made an action figure of this. Can you believe this? Oh my gosh, I was so excited. I found this on Amazon Prime, ordered it, she got here in 2 days, and so excited. So yes, I collect action figures. Trying to curb my action figure collecting. It's not easy now with the 6-inch figures with the Build-A-Figure, so the Juggernaut series looks really cool. I was just planning on getting Kitty Pryde. It's like, oh, that Wolverine brown costume, my favorite Wolverine. I gotta get that one too. Jean Grey, Rogue, Iceman. Dang, I've already got 5 of the characters. I might as well get the other 3 and build Juggernaut. And then the Warlock Build-A-Figure series I saw at San Diego Comic-Con. Looks so awesome. I was going to get Dazzler anyway, Disco Dazzler, but now I got to get Cyclops and all the other characters so I can build Warlock, because I love Warlock. So, yes, I do collect stuff, mostly stuff like this right here. Will I do a broadcast drawing a Wild Guard character? Maybe someday. Maybe someday when I get closer to launching my, or releasing my watercolor experiment story, I just may do that. Yes, thanks for the question. Did I collect Copics one by one or as a whole set? One by one. I went one by one because I want the colors that I want. And I have a local art supply store that carries the entire collection. So I was able to go in and try the markers out, test them out on the scratch paper to see which colors did I want for my collection. Started off with the grays. Even numbered cool grays, even numbered warm grays. That's what I started out with. Liked it so much, I got the odd numbered grays. Then I started incorporating colors, got a few flesh tones, basic red, blue, yellow, green, and then started to build my collection out from there. So as far as sets go, I can't advise on sets. I often get that question about which set to get. I don't know. I don't know. I'd say if you're able to buy your markers individually, you can craft your collection exactly the way you want it to suit your needs. Would I ever undertake an intern to learn the trade? Unfortunately, I do not have the resources to do that, so unfortunately I would not be able to take on an intern. But thank you for asking. Do I feel San Diego Comic-Con has grown too large? I feel it has grown very large, yes. But too large? You know, if San Diego can make the con happen, I mean, it's challenging. Not everyone can get in because there's only so much space in downtown San Diego, so that's unfortunate. But any convention place is going to max out, you know, its capacity. So too large? I don't know if I'd say too large, but very, very, very extremely large? Yes, I might even throw in a couple in more varies in there, potentially. So yes. Man, y'all got a lot of great questions coming here, so I really appreciate it. Any advice for beginner colorists? No, I don't have any advice for colorists because I don't color professionally, but you might want to reach out to some professional colorists, maybe your favorite colorist, and ask them questions like that, and hopefully they'll be able to give you some tips. Can't promise they can answer, but asking the people that do that exact job, they'll be able to get you the proper information you need, and I'm so sorry I don't have that kind of information to help you out. Favorite Wildcard character? Oh my gosh, it's like asking a parent who is their favorite child. It's their first child, of course. So Ignacia. Ignacia is probably my favorite because she was my first character I created for Wildcard. Technically, it's a long backstory of how I created these characters, but she and Red Rover were two of my first. But no, I love all my Wildcard characters, but I guess I do connect to Ignacia the most because she was one of my very first ones. So I've drawn her the longest. I know her the best. What was the first comic that I ever had? Uh-oh, saying my connection is weak. I hope I don't cut out here. First comic book I ever had. Hey, we're back. Sorry. Looks like I got a weak signal. I don't know why that is. This is my internet connection. No one else is on this. I don't know why it'd be weak. So we're going to try to wrap this up soon so we don't get cut off. First comic book I read, or my collection, was Secret Wars. Secret Wars 7, 8, and 9. Those were the first 3 comic books I bought as a 3-pack at Target that got me reading comics. So that would be what got me started in this. But my very, very first comic I remember reading was Spidey Super Stories, back when I was a little kid before I got into comic books. Do I plan to sell my post-it sketches at cons? I don't do post-it commission sketches at cons, but any of the post-it sketches that I do here in my studio that have not sold, which is very, very few now, those I do have for sale at cons. But that's down to maybe 6. I think I have Quentin Quire and Blue Devil and Kimmy Schmidt, the Unbreakable Kimmy Schmidt from Netflix, and a couple other characters still available. I think Wolfsbane from the New Mutants, so very, 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 very few. But always do stop by my table to check, ask if I have any post-it note sketches available for sale. I should come to CCXP in Brazil. I'd love to come. I hope they invite me. So, gang, I want to say thanks so much. I wish I had time to answer all your questions here, but my signal is weak. I don't want to cut out and lose the signal again. So thanks so much for tuning in. Thanks for watching. I hope to broadcast again soon, whether either it'll be here or on Periscope, on my Periscope channel, and I'm at Todd Nauck on the Periscope app. So thanks so much for all the support. Thanks for all the likes, the hearts, the comments, and the questions. So sorry I couldn't answer them all, but I really appreciate all the support. You guys hanging out. I think you're all awesome, and I hope to be back with episode 3 in the not too distant future. Thanks so much, and if you're watching on YouTube, thanks for watching on YouTube. Feel free to leave a thumbs up and a comment below. Thanks a lot, gang. I'll see you again. See you again hopefully soon. All the best.